You would never hear that would say like, oh, I cannot do that, or let's just give up. That's not, it's not in my blood. Hi, my name is Dong-hwan Kim. Everybody call me DK. I am an artist. I paint. Painting is just something that I feel like I have to do, or I just do it. I born and raised in South Korea, and I moved to New York about 14 years ago.
Why did you decide to move to United States?
Ever since I was like 5, I always want to live outside of Korea. I don't know why, but I want to see the world, and I just don't want to stuck in just one place. I already told my mom, my dad, and when I'm 30, turning 30, I want to live outside of Korea. I will move somewhere else. So that's what I did. My dad, he was a jeweler, and my dad owned a small jewelry store in Busan, where I grew up. My dad was very crafty, and he could make anything. And I think somehow he influenced me to be an artist. You know, back in the day, it's not common that parents encourage boys or sons to be an artist. But for some reason, my parents never discouraged me, and always being supportive. And they put me in art schools, you know, since 10. And ever since then, I just, you know, art was a part of my life, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm kind of workaholic. When I get a task, I kind of later focus until if it's done. And I'm also kind of perfectionist, that I want to get it done perfectly or nicely. During the school time, especially in FIT, it was a little bit challenging for me because I went through some personal stuff. It didn't stop me to put a lot of effort on my school. I study really hard. I go to school almost every day, even if it's a snowstorms or holidays. And sometimes the security guard at the school freaked out because I shouldn't be there, but I always show up. But we became friends, and he let me in. It was really tough, but you know, I made the best out of it, and I'm very proud of that. If I have something to do, I cannot think of any other thing but that. But my art kind of actually opposite. Sometimes I just sit there staring at the white canvas until something comes up. When I paint one of my impression pieces, I never plan what to paint. I just wanna. It kind of very spontaneous and very unplanned, and sometimes I love that. When I jump in the art world as a professional artist, it's so easy to mimic someone's art because, you know, everything is out there and there's nothing actually new. And a lot of artists are struggle to find their identification. Really hard to be authentic. I mean, recent series is Pansy series. During the searching period of who I am, I found the pansies. And you know, pansy is one of those flowers that you can just find anywhere outside of house. It's always outdoor, sidewalk, at school or stadium, just there. First of all, I was very intrigued by the color of the petals, and it has two very different color on the same petal that reminds me of who we are. Everybody has two different sides, and no one is just one color. So we shouldn't judge each other. We should be just accept each other. Yeah. And that's how I start the Pansy series. Also, when I moved to New York, I felt I'm just no one. And I was one of those flowers that no one would pay attention. I'm just the filler of the land. So I paint pansies because I want to give it the chance to be the center of the attention. That's one of the reasons why I paint. My pansies are very bright and very, very vibrant and vivid, because when you walked in, and if there's my pansy painting in the space that you walked in, you cannot ever ignore the presence of pansies. And the third one is more personal. When you call someone you are a pansy, it has very derogatory meaning that I didn't know. When I grew up, because people think I was very short and small, and well, I wouldn't say weak, but I was very tiny person. I am, but that's why people sometimes make fun of, me, that they thought I'm very weak or too feminine or timid or whatever. But I wasn't one of them. I was very strong. If you have time to look at my life, I'm a survivor. The pansy is one of the most strongest flower that it can survive extreme weather. Like it can be cold, it can be hot, but they survive. That's one of the reasons why pansy is the outdoor flower, because you don't really need to maintain, I guess. That's who I am. I am survivor. I can survive anywhere. I just want to communicate to people who is struggled or going through stuff that can be hard, but you can be survivor, and you have the resilience in your body. You just don't know, and I just want to remind them through my pansies. My painting is kind of, you see through your eyes, but I want you to hear what is said to your heart. And I think that's very important to me. I want to overcome, and sometimes impossible, right? Let's be real. However, I still try to make best out of it. That's who I am. As international student, if you want to go to college in the United States, you have to pass the language test. And it wasn't really easy for me. And I failed the test many times. And that was really tough challenge, because I studied hard, but never enough. And I very this close that I would say like I have to give up or I have to move on. But I just push it, and then one day I got it. It was really tough time for me. However, it really prepared me to really get into school in a different country, in different culture, in different language, and I was ready.
Can you give advice you would give yourself back when you were going through those biggest challenges of your life?
Yeah, I love to say to younger DK that don't be afraid, don't worry, because you're gonna be fine. I don't know if I'm wise enough to give anyone advice, but if you want me to, then I want to say kind of similar. Be open and don't be afraid. Live it all. As an artist, if you're a perfectionist, it's like that's, I think, curse. You cannot ever be perfect, and you have to understand that and accept that.
How would you like to be remembered?
Today, I would say I want to be remembered as the symbol of resilience.